What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of the Fight Maniac podcast. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really appreciate all of you that are out there watching. If you want to support your boy, all I ask is that you hit that like button and you hit the subscribe button. That would help me out tremendously. So thank you guys. You already know, first podcast of the year. I am back. Not a better time to be back than, of course, breaking down the first ever UFC main card pay-per-view in the Paramount Plus era. So we'll be breaking that down. I'll be talking about each individual fights and what's next for some of the fighters. And we're also going to be talking about UFC 325. So we got blessed. We went, 6-7 weeks without any UFC at all, and then now we get blessed with 2 back-to-back numbered events. So I'm happy about that. So we'll be breaking that down, of course. Just to start this all off, man, obviously first card in Paramount Plus. Generally, what I have seen, everybody's reaction online has been, I guess, positive. There were a few people complaining about the number of ads, which, to be honest with you, the fact that the price, right, of watching UFC went from what was it, like $1,200 to now like $100 and something dollars. I don't know. I don't even pay for my Paramount. I'm using my fiance's subscription. But yeah, the price increased dramatically, right? When the new deal was announced, obviously we all knew that was going to happen. So look, they don't need more money, but they do got to make their pay-per-view money up somehow, right? Like that gap that every single week they were making this X amount of money on pay-per-view, they're no longer doing that. Mind you, they got a lump sum of $7 billion, so that's another, obviously, conversation there, but they're not getting that way. So they have to make their money somehow. So advertising makes sense. Honestly, I don't care. Maybe I'm just numb to it, but I don't want to complain too much about it because, like, we watch NFL, we watch, MLB, NBA, and all of those also have crazy ads. So I don't know. It really doesn't bother me as much if I'm being 100% honest with you guys. And I understand. And it's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. Yes, maybe they should tone it down. The one thing that I definitely didn't like was that we didn't really hear corner advice, or we didn't hear coaches talking to the fighters in their corner because of ads. So maybe they should figure out a way to make it. When one of the reporters asked Dana White this in the press conference, and he was saying that, yeah, maybe in the co-main or the main event, don't do that, and mind you, it's the first ever card. Like, other than that, I would say it was a huge success for the UFC, huge success for the fan base. Nothing really went bad as far as like the stream, as far as like the quality, the production, everything was perfect the way we are used to with the UFC. That is one thing that I'm extremely happy with the UFC. Their production quality is amazing, much better than other sports for sure. But yeah, the night was executed flawlessly. Obviously, there's kinks, right? There's little kinks here and there that Dana, the UFC, and Paramount Plus will kind of fix as we have more events, as more things happen. Like, yeah, now they got some feedback that, like, oh shit, we want to hear that corner advice, right? Especially if a guy is down. Like Patty, like, I wanted to hear, bro, like, and this is a good segue to talk about the main event. Obviously, Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett. I wanted to hear Patty's corner. Like, I'm sure they told him this, but like, dude, why aren't you wrestling, dude? And that is, if I have to say, my biggest takeaway from that fight is that Paddy the Baddy just decided not to wrestle for some reason. He did have a couple like bullshit takedowns that didn't really work, but dude, if I'm Patty, like round 2, middle of round 2, I'm shooting and I'm trying to do something. Even in the clinch, like Patty is famous for flying triangles and stuff like that. Like, I'm not saying he's gonna pull that off against Gaethje because he's where he's a lot more experienced than some of the other guys that he has done that against. But I mean, Jesus Christ, at least do something, bro. Like literally something. You are known for your grappling. You're not really that well known for your knockout power as far as Patty goes, right? But he got fixated in wanting to knock out Justin Gaethje that he kept it on the ground. Um, and look, I mean, shout out Patty. He showed tremendous heart. He showed that he really does have a fucking chin. He really, Scousers are not easy to knock out. It's his famous line. But he took way too much damage. He took way too much damage for what? For literally no reason at all. Just to other than prove a point that you can stand and bang with Justin Gaethje. But that doesn't do you any well, man, because you still lost the fight. Like, if you look at Justin Gaethje's previous fights, like for example, like he got choked out by Charles Oliveira. He got choked out by Khabib. So like, why wasn't Patty's game plan? I'm gonna try and choke this guy out, right? Which is a good way that we know works to beat Justin Gaethje. So I don't know. I really don't understand what was Patty's game plan coming on this fight. Obviously, he wanted to knock him out. That's what he said from early on. But everybody says that. Everybody says I'm gonna knock you out first, second round. You have to have a game plan. And obviously, first round, second round, obviously the striking was not working. Brother, like change up your game plan, right? As the rounds go on, you're not getting any stronger. You're not getting any more power. You're getting tired. Your punches are having less and less effect. That being said, though, it's so hard to tell with Justin Gaethje when he's hurt, but I think he was hurt at least a couple times. At least one time that Patty came back with the counter. I forget if it was like a right hook or something, but a few times Gaethje was kind of wobbled. But it's so hard to tell though. He hides it so well. He also barely had any marks on his face, really. Throughout the fight, after the fight, you could see his face swelling up a little bit and stuff like that, especially in the right eye. But as far as in the middle of the fight, like I could never tell if he was hurt, if he was wobbled. But a few times you could kind of tell that Patty definitely hit him with a couple of big shots that made Justin step back a little bit. Um, Patty talked about having a early on body shot from Justin that kind of hurt him a lot. So that would make sense if that kind of also slowed him down, and that also prevented him from maybe shooting more takedowns. Um, he was doing a good job at leg kicks. That's one prop I'll give Patty, but it wasn't enough. It was not enough. I think for Justin, it must be shitty, right? That a lot of people counted you out, and to be honest with you, I counted him out too. I thought Patty had this in the bag. We've seen in the UFC recently many like newer, fresher guys beat the older legends type of guys, right? Um, so that's what I thought was going to happen. I thought Patty was going to come in and get the job done, maybe a submission, maybe a decision. I don't think he was going to knock him out. I didn't think he was going to knock out Justin, but um, I thought he was going to pull it off somehow, and it just, like I said, he didn't have a good, proper game plan for Justin Gaethje. But I mean, let's talk about Justin Gaethje for a second, ladies and gentlemen. He is an absolute motherfucking badass, bro. I guess I don't know if this is something to be, I don't know if this is something to be proud about, but Jesus fuck, I can't talk today. But he is the first ever two-time interim world champion. So I don't know if that's something to be proud of, but and dude has had probably the toughest matchups when it comes to fighting for gold, when it comes to being at the top. Obviously, the last time over, he lost the undisputed against Khabib, and now he has to go against Ilya, who it's again the tougher matchups, and obviously Justin also lost another title shot against Charles Oliveira, so he has tremendous experience, but unfortunately he's just not unlucky, but he's going against these guys that are legends, that are at their prime, that are that have momentum, and you know it sucks, but I think he will lose against Ilya. If Ilya is well prepared, if Ilya is, fully focused and not worrying about whatever's going on outside of, of the octagon and his personal life, which we all have heard about. If he's 100% dialed in and he is focused, yeah, it's going to be a tough night for Justin, bro. Especially seeing how he definitely takes damage, and he did get knocked out against Max. He didn't get knocked out against Patty, but Ilya's a whole nother monster, bro. I learned, I've learned the hard way to not bet against Ilya. I mean, that guy is insane. It's absolutely insane. It should be a fun fight, but again, I hate to count Justin out again. But again, he keeps fighting these absolute monsters who are at their prime, at their peak. They got momentum going on. Like, it's insane. I saw a good meme that I was like, Justin fought Khabib after he lost his father, and now he's gonna fight Ilya after he lost his wife. So, not lost his wife, but got divorced. So yeah, I mean, if that do you think if that makes a difference? Let me know in the comments. I don't know. I mean, I like to think it doesn't, but it's a funny coincidence, right? He fought Charles Oliveira after he got stripped from the title, and he had like a point to prove. He was in great momentum. Beating Chandler, and then beating Poirier, and then obviously uh, choking out Gaethje. Great momentum. So again, Gaethje just keeps getting unlucky with all of these opponents. Fought against Max Holloway, moving up a weight class, and possibly wanted to prove a point there that he belongs at that weight class. And we all know how that ended up, right? He got knocked out flatline. So, as far as Patty goes, man, let me turn it down a little bit. As far as Patty goes, I don't know. I think Patty, it's tough too, because if you look at the championship picture, right? Obviously, you got Justin Gaethje, who he lost to. You have Arman Sarukian, who it's a tough opponent for Patty, right? Before this fight, before I saw Patty's performance, I would have told you that probably Patty would have beat Arman. But after I saw Arman versus Dan Hooker, and then after I saw Patty versus Justin, I think I think Arman has definitely a great chance at beating Patty. Um, Again, especially if Patty just goes in with that mindset of not having a game plan. Like, oh, I'm gonna knock this guy out. Like, that's not a game plan, right? You need a game plan. You need to tell yourself, like, okay, if the feet aren't working, if the striking is not working by 1.5 rounds, I'm shooting, right? And that's what needs to happen, bro. And then do that every round. And that's what gets you the clinch. That's what like can clinch you a decision win. Patty's coming up, right? He's had an amazing career so far with highlight finishes, right, for against lower level opponents, right? You can make the argument that he jumped the queue a little bit, right? But now that you are on this top three, top five situation, um, you can't do that against some of these higher level opponents, right? You can do that against some guys that are unranked. You can do your flying triangles. You can possibly look for a knockout early on, but against this more seasoned veteran guys, you cannot do that. You have to play it smart. Don't get me wrong. If the knockout is there, if the flying triangle is there, take the opportunity, right? But it's going to be harder to pull off. But you can't just look for a knockout. You can't just headhunt against Justin Gaethje. You can't headhunt against Ilia Topuria, against Arman Sarukian. These guys are at the top of the division, right? And arguably one of the hardest divisions ever. So, for him, I think he just needs to again change his mindset, have a game plan, and he'll probably get another title shot eventually. He needs to win one more. I don't think he's gonna go back to the queue and have to fight a bunch of guys. I think he can fight one more, whether it be somebody like a Armin Sarukian, like a I don't know, like a Dan Hooker maybe. I know he's fighting this weekend, right? So I guess we'll see what happens there. Um, yeah, Dan Hooker is fighting. Who's he fighting? Yeah, Benoit Saint Denis. That's a good fight, Or Patty could possibly find the winner of that, or maybe the loser of that, depending on kind of how that goes. But look, then you have, in this next card, you have a lot of lightweights. You have Zeev versus Mauricio Rufy, who are also itching right there at a possible top 10 situation, So there are opportunities out there for Patty to fight some other guys. But again, I don't think he needs to jump back in the queue and win, 4 or 5 times. He needs to just win one more, have one impressive win against the right opponent at the right time, and I guarantee you he'll get another title shot. However, I do think it was a good learning experience. I think he learned, right? Like he's going to go back, reassess, watch the fight, and just see what he could do better. And again, the main thing was the attempts, the takedown attempts, right? So, I mean, according to the UFC official website, Gaethje had 3 takedowns, 3 out of 3, 100% takedown accuracy, and Patty had 0 out of 5. So if you would have bet that before the fight, you would probably be a millionaire right now. If you would have told me before the fight, Justin Gaethje is going to have 100% takedown accuracy against Patty, and Patty's going to get 0 takedowns, I would have told you, like, you're smoking crack, go watch PFL. Like, that is an insane stat on paper, right? But yeah, I mean, the fact that he didn't get knocked out is crazy. He showed a ton of heart, but dude, you gotta have a better game plan. So, yeah, that's it for the main event. We move on to the co-main event, which is Sean O'Malley versus Song Yadong. Good win for Sean. Definitely much needed. Um, I'm not gonna lie. I was thinking on this one. I was going with Song Yadong before the fight. Just looking at record on paper, I thought he would come in and try to be the new guy at that division. But O'Malley's a tough guy, man. Essentially he stood his ground. He said, "Hey, I'm still here, right? Even though I lost twice to the champ, I'm still here at the top of the division." And definitely got across a really tough opponent in Song Yadong. So he did call out Peter Yan for the title. So we'll see what happens there. Dana didn't really give us any updates as far as that goes. With the with the potential Peter Yan fight, or who's he fighting? Maybe someone like a rematch for Marav, or maybe he's fighting Umar. So if you're Sean O'Malley, obviously you're chilling. He did say this. He exactly said that after the fight. He's gonna chill until he gets the title fight. If they offer you fucking Umar, if they offer you fucking anybody else that's not a title shot, he said he was gonna chill out and hang out. So whether that's smart or not, I guess that's okay. I guess you're gonna wait at least 6 months, because again, who knows what the UFC is gonna do with that division? If Peter Yan is gonna defend against Marav, or if Marav's going to sit out for a little bit, or you also have Umar in the mix. The two that make the most sense to me is O'Malley and Umar, right? But then for O'Malley, it kind of sucks that, let's say he does go against Peter Yan, which he has a win over, right? And he wins, and he's a champ again. Now you have to defend your title to either Marav or Umar, right? And we all know how O'Malley does against grapplers, right? It's not good. Definitely not good. Which is kind of another point that this fight was a great matchup for O'Malley, because there was rarely any. Song did have 3 takedowns, but there was rarely any wrestling, really. There was not that many wrestling. Also, if you look at the takedown accuracy for Song Yadong, it was 3 takedowns completed out of 7 attempted. So good takedown defense there for O'Malley. That is one thing that he does have, especially preparing for a fighter like Marav for the second fight. He did drill wrestling a lot more. Um, but anyways, shout out to Sean for getting a much needed win. He's back in the queue. I was worrying there a little bit. If he loses this fight, this was a lot of pressure for him. This was a lot of pressure for him. If he lost this fight, you're probably looking at moving up to featherweight, which I don't mind. He is a tall dude. He doesn't really have a ton of muscle either. So if he hits the weight room, he could potentially have a move to 45 at some point in his career. But not for now. Not for now. If he would have lost this, then I would have said, yeah, probably move to featherweight would be smart. Um, but yeah, Sean needs to chill right now and see what happens. But shout out to him to getting very impressive win. I would say honestly, I had it really close. I was like, I think Sean definitely won the second and third. I would say, but I don't know. The second one was kind of iffy. The first one was so hard to um, to score because there was almost nothing happening in the first round. So I was gonna say any judge here can fuck it up for Sean or for Song. Really, I mean it's a matter of how they score that first one. Um, but anyways, moving on to the heavyweight bout that we had between Derek Lewis and Waldo Cortes Acosta. Huge win for Acosta against a huge name like Derek Lewis. Derek Lewis had a lot of hype coming into this fight because, everybody was saying that maybe the media fucked him a little bit on this because all week doing media, the one narrative is that, oh, you're Trump's favorite fighter. You're going to be at the White House. This is just a tune-up fight, for the White House card. And that was obviously not the case. So maybe that got in his head a little bit, but um, I don't know what happened with him. If it was a matter of maybe he got wobbled early on, but the fact that he got knocked out in the second round sucks because I was wanting Derek Lewis to win so bad. But hey, shout out to Waldo, man. He showed that he is a contender. He's a guy that also wants to stay active and fight, so that's pretty good. He took very little damage on this. Derek Lewis landed 8 total strikes on the fight. 8 total strikes. So nothing has come out yet as far as like if he was hurt or like if you throw 8 total strikes in 2 rounds, like that's concerning, right? Now you're thinking of a possible injury, possible, broken arm or wrist or something. You don't know. But 8 total strikes for Derek Lewis is crazy. So yeah, Acosta played his cards right. He was patient. He didn't really try and go for the kill that fast. So shout out to him, man. Definitely a good win over a huge name. And what's next for him? Let me look at his record. I wasn't too familiar with his record. Um, so okay. Oh yeah, he did fought in November against Gaziv. Um, so as far as what's next for him, looking at the rankings here, of heavyweight, which is a very shallow division. So I'm assuming he might be. It's a shallow division, and it sucks because that division is literally on pause right now. Like literally on pause because Tom is out, John Jones was out, retired. Cyril Gahn is probably just waiting for a Tom Aspinall rematch. He's probably not going to take any other fight other than a rematch against Tom. I don't know if Volkov or Pavlovich have any fights booked right now, but hey, that either of those two would be a perfect next fight for Acosta because you beat Derek Lewis, who was ranked like number 8. So now there's nothing, and I think Acosta was ranked a little bit higher than him. So, yeah, you're looking now, I think, at a top 3 situation. And again, just because there's nothing there. He did call out, actually, never mind. He did call out Curtis Blades, which that's good. I don't know why he called out Curtis Blades because he's ranked number 4. Like, I would have called out Volkov, who's ranked number 2. That makes more sense to me if you look at it on paper as far as rankings go, right? If you look at name wise, yeah, names, I think um, Blades makes more sense because he also did fight for the title most recently rather than Volkov. So that could see why he would do that. But Volkov is number two, right? And then you got Pavlovich, Blades, and then Acosta. So he's right there, man. He's right at the cusp. And he has to just win one more against any of those two guys or three guys. And I think he'll get a title shot. But again, it sucks that his literal future depends right now on all this bullshit heavyweight drama of Tom Aspinall and when he's coming back. Is he gonna get stripped? Is he gonna, if I'm Tom Aspinall, I would have honestly relinquished the title. Take a note from Jiri Prohaska, from Jamal Hill, which I really like what they did when they got injured, is they immediately let go of the title, especially if they knew they were gonna be out for a little while. Let the division keep going, man, because now not only Tom is out and obviously Jones retired, but now Cyril Gahn is also technically out because he's not going to take any other fight other than a title shot. They could do an interim. I wouldn't mind an interim, but then Cyril Gahn would have to fight that interim. Um, and if he wins that, he would become next to Gagey, the second ever uh, two-time interim world champion, right? So again, I don't know how proud you want to be of a title like that, but hey, it's there. If they do an interim, I wouldn't mind Cyril Gahn versus Acosta. That might be a good one. If they don't do an interim, Cyril Gahn is out for a long time, and Acosta will fight probably Curtis Blades. So that's what's next as far as the heavyweight division, which is a whole mess. I've talked about it in the past. It's a fucking nightmare right now, ever since the whole John Jones fucking fiasco. But yeah, shout out to Costa. Feel bad for Derek, man. I hope he, you know, you're also talking about a possible retirement for Derek because if you look at his age, Derek is what, 40? Yeah, he's 40. Not on your prime anymore. You're known to be the knockout guy, but at this rate, I don't know, man. You've lost a lot of your fights in recent events. You did have a couple impressive wins, which is awesome. Almost like a second wind to his career here. Um, and when you did get a shot at a gold or a championship, unfortunately you lost. So yeah, it's unfortunate for Derek Lewis because he's such a huge name. He's such a likable guy, but he's lost a lot, and this loss is a bad one. It's definitely a bad one. It's a loss that will kind of let us know that maybe he can't hang with the top guys anymore. Maybe he's not at that level anymore. So it was weird though. Again, maybe there was something wrong with him, but yeah. Okay. Next up, we have the women's fighting, which, dude, I don't know what it is every time Rose Namajunas fights, but lately she's been in the absolute most boring fights in the entire UFC history, dude. Like that is not good. I don't know what. I mean, maybe that's another person that needs to consider, retiring in at some point, and maybe after this loss, who knows, right? But the fact that she has been in some of the worst, some of the most boring fights in UFC history, like not just women's, not just her division, in UFC history, it's horrendous, right? Um, she's won two out of her last. She's won three out of her last five, which is not bad. Um, but definitely this was a fight that I think was definitely a title eliminator. So I think we do see Natalia Bueno Silva challenge for the title against Valentina the Bullet Shevchenko, which kind of makes sense at flyweight. Um, and well, for the look of it, Natalia is also ranked in the women's pound for pound. So there you go. She is four, ladies and gentlemen. So shout out to her. But yeah, I mean, that's really the only thing there. unless you want to have a title eliminator against Fury, but I don't think that would happen, especially with the momentum that she has now, getting a huge win and a huge card. I think, and a lot of people were saying that, like, oh, maybe she's definitely up next for a title. So, yeah, she's right there at the very top, man. There's almost nothing else stopping her from getting a title shot. So, unfortunately, I do think she loses against Valentina, which is crazy to think that Valentina still. I saw a picture of champions. What was it, 2020 or 2021? And the only two people there still are Volkanovski, and Valentina. Every other champion is different, right? You had Glover Teixeira, you had Charles Oliveira, you had all the champions different, except Valentina and Volkanovski. Mind you, they both lost their belt and they had to get it back, which, in my opinion, speaks more to their character. But it's just so impressive that those two are still there at the top. Unfortunately, if you ask me, I think Volk loses his belt this weekend. Yeah, and the UFC kind of fucked them a little bit on that too, if you ask me. Like, getting past a guy like Diego Lopez once is hard enough. The fact that he has to do it again, I think it's tough for her. I don't think it's going to happen, you know? And a lot of people were counting Volk out that first fight, right? It was a tough fight. It wasn't an easy win by all means. So I don't know. If I'm Volk, I would have declined that fight, honestly, but who knows? But yeah, I'll talk about that here in a second. So next up, we have Arnold Allen versus Gene Silva. It was a fantastic fight. I thought that was going to be fight of the night, but they ended up giving it to Patty and Justin. Yeah, they did get fight of the night. Did any of them? No, they didn't give them either performance of the night to either of them. I mean, honestly, it was a fantastic fight. Both of those guys were throwing, and both of those guys were trying to get the knockout. None of them got it, but there was significant damage there, man, for sure. I think ultimately what gave John Silva the win was the takedowns, you know, because on the strikes they're pretty even as far as total strikes, significant strikes. They're pretty even, you know, by 10. So I mean, yeah, you could say he won on the strikes, but having 4 takedowns secured, 4 out of 6 takedowns, is pretty good rate. Definitely got him the win there because Allen had 0 takedowns. So you got to mix it up. You have to mix it up, you know, especially look at the total strikes, 78 versus 60. You can't leave that up to the judges, right? If you leave that up to the judges, they're going to fuck you at some point, right? So smart from Silva to take it to the floor and mix it up a bit to show that dominance. And that gets you over the hump. That gets you over any doubt that, oh, the judges will fuck me. And that's what Patty should have kind of done, you know, again, going back to Patty's, mix up the striking. It's not working. Like, Silva's striking was working. He was getting hit a lot, but he was also finding really good success against Allen. Even though his striking was kind of working, he still shot for a takedown, right? Patty's striking was not working, and he didn't shoot for a takedown. So that tells you a lot of having a game plan and implementing it and having it work. So for Jen Silva, obviously he has that loss against Diego Lopez. Again, he doesn't have to go like back in the queue. So I think he just needs to either wait to see what happens between Diego and Volk. Like if Volk wins, let me see. If he wins, I think Gin Silva could potentially get a title shot next. You never know. You know, the UFC has done weirder stuff in the past, so I wouldn't be surprised. You have a few people there in the mix, though. You have Yair Rodriguez, you have Leron Murphy, you have Sterling as well. So, yeah, Silva was what? Oh, he's number 10. Okay. Wow, the fact that he went against Diego is crazy. But Gin Silva is number 10 right now. Yeah, you have a few. So never mind. Let me about what I say. He will not get a title shot next. Not a chance. Not a chance. He will take Allen's spot, who Allen was number 6. So that's good. it's definitely a good bump up. Um, but I think you're gonna fight somebody like I said, somebody like Leron Murphy, Yair Rodriguez, or Sterling, and then just wait a little bit and see what happens with the title picture. Right, the title might change hands this weekend, so just be patient and see what happens there. For Allen, dude, he's such a good fighter. He's such a good guy too. I feel bad for him, but hey, buddy, you just gotta keep your head up and keep fighting, man, and potentially get a big win next. You know, that's what you gotta do. What was his record before this? I wasn't fully okay. So he did lost against Ivloev in January, and then he won against Chikadze. She lost to Max Holloway, obviously, a while ago. He also hasn't been that active, you know. So that's definitely not a plus. But um, yeah, who knows if you give him, you know, another couple of good fights that he could potentially win, he could find himself in another top five situation. So that's definitely a plus there. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. I was driving while the Umar fight was happening, so I couldn't watch that fully. I was trying to watch it on my phone, but I didn't want to drive, and it was snowing too. I didn't want to drive and be distracted on my phone. I was driving in the middle of a blizzard, so yeah, I didn't fully watch that fight. Obviously, Umar did get the win against Figgy. I did see Figgy missed weight, which sucks because he is actually too coming up from flyweight. So the fact that he is missing weight at bantamweight is kind of concerning. But yeah, Umar ended up getting the win. I did hear it was not really that of a crazy fight or anything. It was not eventful at all. So two takedowns for Umar and 103 total strikes for Umar. So that'll get you a win, all right. And yeah, like I said before, Umar is right there amongst the guys like Peter, like not fucking. He's right there amongst his peers like fucking Marav and Sean O'Malley. If you ask me, three guys that could potentially, either one of them, challenge for a title soon. Um, and even if he doesn't get the title shot next, I think he should wait and again try to get that because again, if they do, for example, Peter Yan versus Umar, or Peter Yan versus Marav, then Umar would be next for a defense. So maybe you could take one more fight, and that'll kind of prove a point that like you beat everybody, right? But it's risky because if you lose that, then you're out of the title picture, you know. So a lot of these guys, like him, like O'Malley, they're in a risky situation where like should they take the risk, fight one more time, but risk losing, and be out of the title picture, versus right now you're kind of in the title picture, and if you just wait a little bit, you might kind of get that call, you know. So yeah. The rest of the prelims are good. Obviously, we had a lot of fights fall off last minute, which is unfortunate. But I did see like the first three fights were all knockout. I did watch those at home, so that was pretty fucking good. Shout out to Josh Hockett. Bro has the most insane fucking post fight interview call outs. I mean, the guy is insane. It's just like Chael Sonnen. It's hilarious. Copying it almost verbatim. So that's great. Okay, well, now we can talk about UFC 325 this Saturday. Again, blessed that we get two back to back numbered events. We get two huge title fights back to back, one at lightweight and then one at featherweight. And this card is also fucking stacked, bro. The main card, at least, is stacked. The prelims are looking good too, but the main card, dude, is insane. Obviously, I'm gonna start with the main event. You know, I don't like to tease you guys. Volk versus Diego. I already said it. I think I have Diego winning this. The fact that Alex has to defend again against Diego is fucking not defend. The first one was for the vacant, but the fact that he had to defeat Diego for the vacant, and now he has to defeat him again is so hard. It's so hard. I don't think he's gonna do it. You can never count Volk out though, but again, the odds are kind of stacked against him. If he gets this win though, he is a fucking goat. He is an absolute goat. But I think Diego can formulate a plan from the first fight and kind of see what went wrong, which not a lot went wrong. He had some good success against Volk. You know, it wasn't like a total beatdown. But Volk is just a tough guy, bro. A tough guy to put down, tough guy to put away. He's going to just keep going forward. He has amazing cardio. That's not a problem. He has great takedown defense offensively as well. So that's not a problem. Overall, well-rounded guy. Dangerous on the ground too, not for submission wise, but for ground and pound. That is what he was known for. You know, and when he was coming up at featherweight, is his ground and pound is fucking vicious. You'll remember the ground and pound that he was landing against fucking what's fucking Brian Ortega. Dude changed his face. So yeah, Diego has to be careful with all of that. But the fact that he already fought him right once, um, I think gives Diego a good advantage. I think this sets up Diego nicely to say, all right, I know what I did wrong in the first one. Let me adjust. I know I'm younger, I'm fresher, I might be a little faster. But Volk has the experience. But now, you know, now Diego, I think, has a better chance at winning, which is why I'm picking him. He's my number one pick for this um, main card is Diego to win the title. And who knows? Maybe they'll do a rematch because they'll be 1-1. You know, if Diego wins and they're 1-1, now they can set up a rematch and do a trilogy, which it's not bad, not a bad idea. But there are other people there at that division that I think deserve the title more than Diego Lopez for sure, for sure. I think Leron Murphy was one of them. I think if you look at his record, he is doing everything right, right? Just undefeated so far. Wait, what? Yeah, what's his record? Yeah, he is undefeated in general. So, I mean, defeated Aaron Pico, who was had big hype coming from Bellator, and then if you look back, he defeated Emmett, who's been at the top of that division for a long time. Kind of, you know, sucks to say, but a little bit of a gatekeeping position that Emmett has had. But beat him, beat Dan Ige. You know, I mean, the guy has defeated a lot of huge names in that division in the past couple of years. And he's active. You know, he defeated Ige in October of 2024, then Emmett in April of 25, then Pico in August of 25. So he was definitely up next for a title shot. So yeah, it just sucks that I didn't give it to him. Again, I think he was deserving more of the title than Diego Lopez, but hey, it is what it is. So he will be in the picture after the Saturday. I guarantee you people will be talking about him fighting the winner of this fight, which I think is smart. So yeah, I feel bad for Volk having to literally defend his title like his first defense is against Diego Lopez after he beat him. That just stacks the odds against him. But who knows? He could pull it off, man. He's a veteran. He is experienced. He knows. He has great fight IQ. He's been there multiple times at big events, headline huge cards, last minute replacements. So yeah, he's been there, done that. And if Diego can again have a good game plan, Take example from Patty the Batty. Have a good game plan, right? If you don't have a good game plan, look what happens, especially against a seasoned veteran guy. You can't just go in there hoping for the best. And this is exactly the same scenario. Same scenario. Younger, fresher, coming up guy going against a seasoned veteran, right? That people will count out. And when you count out some of these veterans, that's when they become more dangerous. So, yeah, I think Diego Lopez is my pick for that. For the next fight, I do have to pick Benoit Saint Denis, even though I am a huge Dan Hooker fan. Um, it's going to be a fantastic fight, potential fight of the night. But uh, if you would have made this fight before Benoit Saint Denis fought Rufi, I would have said Rufi on then Dariush. He fought Dariush too. He's been active. If I would have said Dan Hooker all night, I would have said Dan Hooker has this, right? However, BSD is on a tear right now. He's on a 3-fighter win streak. Yes, he did have that loss against Moicano, and Poirier had two back-to-back losses, unfortunately. But he's on a three-fight win streak right now, and he's has some momentum. And again, that Ruffy fight, Marisa Ruffy, that fucking oh my god, dude, that was an amazing fight. I remember I was at the airport watching that, and I was just like, dude, I thought Ruffy was gonna just have that in the bag, and fucking Beno Saint Denis submitted him in the second round, and that was in fucking insane to do that to Ruffy, and also beat him on the striking. If I remember correctly, the striking was all BSD that day. So, um, if you would have made this fight before that, I would have said Dan Hooker, right? But now Dan Hooker is also coming off of a loss. I hate to say it, but he's also been sort of that gatekeeper type of scenario, right? Where he's unfortunately never beaten some of the top guys. But hey, he is coming off a couple of good fights. He lost to Arman, obviously, but before that, he was on a three-fighter win streak. So, he had some momentum going. Great wins against Turner, Gamrot. Um, but unfortunately, I do think I'm going with Beno Saint Denis for this one. Um, but yeah, I love Dan Hooker, bro. It's gonna be a good fight either way. It's gonna be a fantastic fight either way. Dan Hooker is a fucking psychopath, bro. He doesn't care. He's like just engaging. He'll just go in there, risk his life to entertain us, and I fucking love that. And yeah, it's amazing. um, Next up, you have Rafael Fiziev versus Mauricio Rufy, another great fight, and obviously there's some history there between all of these guys, but they're all in lightweight, and some of them have fought each other. So this is a great kind of potential looking at how the lightweight division is shaping up and who will be able to kind of evolve from this and break to a possible top three, top five situation, right? Because Dan Hooker, Benoit Saint Denis, Fiziev, and Rufy, they're all ranked, but they're not top five. The closest one is Dan Hooker. So either one of these guys puts out a great performance this weekend, you could break into a top five situation. So, but for this one, I'm gonna have to go with I don't know. I want to say Rufy, but again, he is coming off of that loss against Benoit Saint Denis. But if you look at his career before that, dude was on a fucking tear, bro. On an absolute tear. Knocking dudes out. Fucking with style too, with fashion. Knocking dudes out with spinning kicks and a bunch of shit. Um yeah, I mean he was undefeated until the BSD, so at least in the UFC. Uh, it's tough. It's really tough. And then Fiziev, he's a guy that was coming up. He had a lot of hype around him, and then unfortunately had a couple of losses. For him, he lost to Justin Gaethje. Who he lost to? I think that's it. Oh, he fought Gaethje. Oh wait, yeah, he lost to Gaethje twice, dude. That's crazy. Um, Other than that, he's won against some other tough guys. He defeated Bahamondes, which is a good win for him. Definitely a good win because Bahamondes is another guy that was coming up fresh, coming up to the queue. So defeating somebody like that is great. How old is Fiziev? He's not that old, right? He's 32. Yeah, not at all. He looks older. It's the beard, I think. Defeated Gamrod, defeated Dos Anjos. So he has some good wins. I would hate to see him in that gatekeeper position, kind of like a Dan Hooker, but it's a tough, tough ask to get someone like Mauricio Rufy, get past him. But I am taking Mauricio Rufy on this one. I think he'll be able to get that win and move up the queue. So, shout out. Then we have the return of Tai Tuivasa. He hasn't fought in a while, right? When's the last time he fought? Let me see. Um, August 2024 is the last time he fought, which is not good. It's not good. It's not good to take that much time off. He's going against Taliesin Teixeira, who has fought and recently. even though I love Tai Tuivasa, I think I'm going to take Teixeira on this because Teixeira has been more active. He's coming off of a loss, unfortunately, against Derek Lewis in July. Um, but I don't know. I just Tai Tuivasa, he has great skills, but he kind of throws caution to the wind a lot and just kind of just says fuck it and tries to go for the knockout. So if Taliesin Teixeira is smart about it, he could catch Tai with something. You know what? Fuck it. Fuck it. I'm gonna go with my gut in this one. I'm gonna say Tai Tuivasa. The return of Tai Tuivasa. Let's do that. Tai Tuivasa. Put your money on him. I'm just kidding. Don't put your money on him. But that's my prediction for this. Tai Tuivasa. Next up, we have Killian Salkiel versus Jamie Mullarkey. Just on paper, I think I'm gonna give it to Salkiel just because Jamie does have couple of losses right now on his last couple of fights. He lost against Rufy, which is obviously a very tough fight, but he also lost against Kelvin Gastelum. Oh, I'm kidding. No, he lost against Kelvin Gastelum's double ganger. So, but no, I think Salkiel makes sense on this one just because of the momentum he has. So, some other exciting fights in the prelims though. You have Junior Tafa, Cody Brandage, and that's pretty much it, really. But yeah, I think that is all for this episode, guys. Thank you so much for watching. As always, if you want to support your boy, all I ask is hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. That will help me out a lot. So thank you, and I'll catch you guys next week where I'm going to be breaking down what happened after the fact of UFC 325. So see you guys there. Peace.